Hi everybody, this is Agnes from Sediment, and today I want to talk to you about Bordeaux, a winemaking region dear to me that is currently facing all sorts of challenges. Consider this my tiny campaign, or more like a video rant, to make Bordeaux affordable again. And yes, I have an exceptional wine ready for tasting. Maybe you remember in one of my videos I told you a story about an acquaintance who came to me wanting to sell a single bottle of Petrus. It was gifted to him, and when he looked up the price, he said it felt like pure debauchery to simply drink a wine that costs that much. And I think this story illustrates perfectly what has happened with certain wine categories, and classed Bordeaux is amongst them. Instead of enjoying wine for what it is, many people now buy it to store, to trade, or to give it as a generous gift. But the idea of simply opening wine and drinking it almost feels inappropriate. Even though I believe that Burgundy has gone a similar path, overall wine prices have grown tremendously here, and not a lot of us can continue to enjoy Burgundy the way we used to. There is one key difference. Burgundy was always made to be drunk. It was never made to be traded. Furthermore, there is far less Burgundy available in the market than Bordeaux, simply because their Grand Cru sites are strictly defined. And often the top producers own only tiny parcels of given Grand Cru vineyard, so the production of the most sought-after wines is significantly limited. By contrast, a first growth in Bordeaux or any highly regarded producer can quite freely decide which grapes will be dedicated to their Grand Bon, and the resulting volumes of those Grand Bon are relatively huge. So the idea that Bordeaux is scarce is a mirage. It is almost never rare. You can always find a bottle from the vintage you want, with several merchants to choose from. With Burgundy, there was a time if you missed your allocation, it was gone forever. The whole idea of collecting wine for investment only works if the wine is truly rare. Maybe there are exceptions, but none comes to my mind. Like I said, Burgundy has always emphasized that their wines are made to be drunk. Even Aubert de Villaine, the co-owner of the Domaine de la Romanée-Conti, has expressed his disappointment that the majority of their bottles end up locked in the cellars. He makes wines to be enjoyed, not sold, resold, auctioned, or paraded. If, however, you market your wine as an investment, I will buy those bottles and lock them in my cellar, or rent one and will probably never see those bottles in my life. And I will probably keep buying as long as I can afford it, I am advised to, have space, and as long as I believe they will earn me some profit in the future. And if those wines are never opened and enjoyed, they are not becoming any rarer. I am afraid we are currently only seeing the tip of the iceberg. And this ties back to what I discussed on my podcast with wine collecting and investment expert Thomas Heymans.
Keep in mind that all these bottles are somewhere. I mean, of course, some of them are drunk when they're sold, but we know that some bottles like romanée-conti that we spoke before are basically kept like trophies, like gold. I always say one day all these bottles will come from the underground and will pop on the market.
What happens when all those wines in the cellars resurface? When collectors decide to sell to finally see that investment pay off, when the spouses get the half of the collection in the divorce and want to sell it, or when children have no interest in the wines they have inherited and decide that the best solution is to sell them. And yet, the next vintage comes and Bordeaux releases millions more bottles in the market, and once again, it is the best vintage of the decade, of the century. Or, despite the very challenging weather, wines are still amazing. 98 points, 99 points, ding, ding, ding! Moreover, the notion of this yearly price increase would make sense only if wine quality grew at least at a similar trajectory. But that has never been the case. Yes, it is true that some vintages simply deliver better quality wines than others. The en primeur price between 2008 and 2009 vintage for some wines jumped by as much as 400%. Sure, 2009 was great, but was it 400% better than 2008? And when lower scored and challenging years like 2013 were offered en primeur, we did not see much of a price drop. Some estates cut their price by 3 to 7% compared to the previous year. It seems unfair, doesn't it? Back then, the talk was all about protecting the brand by keeping prices in order. I think that the real damage comes when no one wants to buy your product, even after you have significantly lowered the price. Enter 2024 vintage, which left Bordeaux estates devastated and negociants frustrated. Some chateaux reduced their prices substantially, and even I was tempted to grab some of those Lafite bottles myself. However, I feel that by now, people have grown distant from Bordeaux and largely lost interest. The truth is that over the last 10 years, wines are not being sold out and bottles are not emptied. Meanwhile, Bordeaux kept releasing more and more premium products and simultaneously rising prices. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I do not think that wine investment is completely gone, but it does require knowledge and understanding, not just simply passion. And I also believe that the only reason Bordeaux as a winemaking region still holds relatively stable on Livex is that it has become a snowball. Physics that our Mother Nature is built around show how powerful inertia can be. And it is why we are required to wear seatbelts. But have any of us buckled up for the crash of Bordeaux? Now, I do not mean a crash that ends in a complete devastation. These wines will still shine, mature beautifully to bring joy to our taste buds with enormous complexity, structure, and depth of flavors, leaving us with a jolly mind. But they certainly can't keep dictating the same prices. And while some estate representatives think that lowering prices is not the answer, I most certainly think otherwise. Make Bordeaux available again to passionate wine lovers who dream of tasting it. Make Bordeaux available again to those who have traveled thousands of miles and want to visit your estate and are deeply interested how your wine is made, the magic behind that bottle. Make Bordeaux available again to everyday consumers, those who buy your wine to drink, celebrating empty bottles, stained tablecloth, and purple teeth. Let me see open bottles on Instagram, not just staged photos. And to us wine lovers, let us finally enjoy Bordeaux for what it is. A great wine, not an investment asset. With that in mind, I have decided to open an exceptional, nay, legendary vintage of Chateau Durfort-Vivens of Margaux, 2016 vintage. So let's taste it. I have been incredibly lucky to visit this estate. It is one of those rare estates that is fully converted to biodynamics, and 2016 vintage was the very first vintage they were 100% biodynamic. And there are some critics who do enjoy this style a lot. It is maybe more leaner, more red fruit driven, and there are some critics who might not quite understand it, so let's taste it here. There are a lot of wines from Bordeaux that I taste and smell, and I think this is classic Bordeaux, like it just screams Bordeaux in the glass, and this one is not that. It actually shows a bit of restraint, a bit of shyness, not a lot of power. It is almost like delicately floral on the nose, but you do feel some of those red berries, crunchy blackberries, crunchy blackcurrant. It is quite fresh. Let's taste it. Wow. There is this underlined elegance here. I haven't tasted this wine for a really long time, but wow, I do enjoy the style. I just sometimes feel that Bordeaux, for me, specific estates can be very structured, very powerful, very rich. And this one, it is fresh, it is enormously elegant, but at the same time, it does not punch you in the face, it does not punch you with the structure or intensity. It is this really calmed down, really put together, well-behaved lady. But I do think it shows that underlined Margaux elegance, that underlying Margaux purity of fruit. Yes, this is what I am talking about. It has this really pure, almost crystalline-like fruit, both on the nose and on the palate. And the tannin is really beautiful. I am recording this video in quite early morning and the tannin here is not bothering me. The alcohol is beautifully well integrated. I think this is exceptional wine. It is exceptional wine, but it is atypical Bordeaux. So atypical, not atypical, if that makes sense. Yeah, what a smoothness also on the palate. It's really beautiful. I think it's something different. It's something not your traditional Bordeaux in the glass. I will give this wine 94 points. For me, it could go as high as 96, I guess. It is still quite youthful in the glass. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of Bordeaux? Where is it going? What is happening with the prices? Are you still buying Bordeaux? Are you still enjoying it? Or you have moved to other winemaking regions? And what is the reason? Is it the price? Is it the style? Is it the attitude? Let me know in the comment section below. But Bordeaux has also always been a winemaking region that other regions aspire to. So make sure to watch my other video, Bordeaux versus Super Tuscany.